Let's be real here, the Ram 1500 is undeniably among the best full-size pickup trucks in its segment and has been since the current generation was presented way back in 2019. However, even it wasn't without its flaws, including low maximum towing capacity, high price, and many others, which resulted in it not making a clear cut to the top. But with the 2025 model year, Stellantis has promised us a complete revision of these issues and promised us a pickup truck to rule them all. So, did they manage to do so? Join us and let's check out if Ram 1500 manages to fix the 5 worst flaws of the previous model. Number 5. Mediocre torque. By far, the biggest downfall of the Ram 1500 compared to its rivals was its very lackluster torque figures. Simply put, the 5.7-liter Hemi V8 was starting to show its age, and achingly so. Its maximum power output was just 395 horsepower, and torque did not exceed 410 pound-feet, making it a very mediocre choice compared to the 3.5 EcoBoost, which offered up to 55 HP more and up to 100 pound-feet of torque more. As a result, the Ram always came in second best when it came down to towing and payload capacity. However, with the 2025 model year, we bid farewell to the legendary 5.7-liter V8, and in its place we welcome Stellantis' new piece de resistance, the 3.0 Hurricane 6 engine. This twin-turbocharged inline-6 engine might not seem like a lot to you, but in all actuality, it's an absolute unit of a power plant. The lower output variation pushes out 420 HP and 470 pound-feet of torque, practically beating the Hemi to a pulp. Which, albeit a sad sight to see, it's still good news for those who need a proper workhorse. In addition, the high output variation will push out a whopping 540 HP and 521 pound-feet of torque, making it far more potent than the 3.5 V6 from the F-150. Now, we have to mention that, despite these upgrades, the Ram 1500 remains second to the F-150 in terms of towing capacity. However, this isn't the engine's fault. The Ram 1500, unlike virtually every other truck on the market, utilizes regular coil springs instead of leaf springs, which gives it that well-known ride quality. Furthermore, it can also be optioned out with air suspension to increase comfort, which all comes at the cost of towing. Still, with the towing capacity of near as makes no difference 11,600 pounds, the Ram 1500 is still a very competent vehicle if towing is a priority. Number 4. Outdated tech. The Achilles heel of the Ram 1500 was, without a doubt, how technologically dated it was. This was especially true when seeing how incredible the entire truck is compared to its competitors. Seriously, just look at that stunning interior wrapped in plush leather, accented with either gorgeous wood or metal, and with such an elegantly sophisticated layout and design that you cannot not fall in love with it. And then take a look at that screen, which is an absolute downfall. Seriously, Stellantis, what were you thinking? The infotainment system, from a practical standpoint, is hardly the stuff of fantasies. First, the software is very convoluted, and it's definitely not easy to use. Second, the screen itself isn't very responsive, and it's very much a representative of the late 2010s with all the bad stuff that those years brought with them. Its case wasn't helped by the fact that practically all trims, but the range-topping ones, had either a 5-inch dinosaur of a system, or a mediocre and frankly ugly 8-inch system. Now, sure, they weren't terrible infotainments per se. However, comparing them to the likes of the F-150's infotainment screen only showed you inferior the Ram 1500's offerings were. So did Stellantis fix this for 2025? Yes, they did. You see, the new 2025 model comes with a revised infotainment system, which is now much more responsive and much better than the previous generation. Plus, the 5-inch system is now completely gone, and in its wake comes the 8.4-inch system, which has been revised and is now better looking. Still, this screen is only reserved to the base model trims, and other trims, such as the fan-favorite Laramie, now come with a 12-inch unit, which used to be the range topper. And if that isn't enough, you can always get the new biggest screen, which is the 14.4-inch behemoth that takes up the entire center console. Don't worry, most of your physical buttons will stay intact. In addition, you can also opt for an additional screen on the passenger side, which only further amplifies how seriously Ram and Stellantis took the complaint about the outdated tech. Number 3. Lack of a single cab. One of the biggest complaints that people, especially tradesmen, had about the Ram 1500 was the fact that there was no designated single cab for it. In fact, you could also say that the extended cab wasn't exactly an extended cab either. This was a huge blow to the Ram 1500's sales, as many people loved the truck's high levels of comfort and great quality, but couldn't opt for it because of the limited practicality it offered as a workhorse compared to the F-150. Unfortunately, the 2025 model year remains unchanged in this regard, making it quite a missed opportunity for Ram, as they could have offered us a properly good all-rounder workhorse. The worst thing is that their quad cab, which is more of a shorter crew cab than an actual extended cab, also remains, further eating into the truck's bed and making it an even more inferior vehicle to the F-150 in this regard. Such a waste. Number 2. Low MPG figures. One of the biggest tell signs of the Hemi V8's age was undoubtedly its mediocre MPG figures. It could do only 15 MPG in the city and only 22 MPG on the highway, which is pretty darn bad when you put it next to the 3.5 EcoBoost, which gives you 2 MPG on average more. And you don't get that problematic e-torque system, and you don't get all kinds of complications with it either. Well, for 2025, and with the introduction of the Hurricane 6, the Ram 1500's MPG figures have jumped quite a bit. You see, the lower output variation of this engine can do up to 25 mpg on the highway, which is a massive improvement over the previous generation and is also better than the F-150. City miles per gallon has also seen a great improvement, as the Ram 1500 will now return up to 18 mpg city. The high output version's MPG is identical to the Hemi V8, however, that's to be expected, and frankly, you won't hear us complaining as it's a pretty powerful engine. What we will complain about though is the fact that the Pentastar V6 hasn't been phased out yet. Sure, its 20 mpg in the city and 25 miles per gallon on the highway are still impressive fuel economy figures. However, they certainly aren't as deal-breaking as they were last year. Plus, the lack of power and torque makes the V6 quite a redundant engine in the lineup, as it is inferior to the inline 6 in every way possible, except for maintenance. But still, most pickup trucks will come with the Hurricane 6, so this isn't a deal breaker for us. Number 1. High entry price. Another key problem of the Ram 1500 compared to its peers was the very steep entry price. The Ram 1500 was basically the creme de la creme of the pickup truck world, and this was reflected by its $41,500 entry-level price. This was unacceptable for a truck that had such little equipment, especially since last year's F-150 started at almost $6,000 less, and was fairly better equipped than its Ram 1500 equivalent. For the 2025 model year, however, things get a little bit weird. You see, Ram has bumped up the price to $42,000 for the entry-level model, which would usually mean that nothing would have changed in regards to value per money. However, it did. Apart from the 2025 Ram being better equipped than its predecessor, Ram benefited from Ford's radical new price change. You see, the F-150, which used to be $6,000 cheaper than the previous version of the Ram, will now cost you only $3,500 less. And that's only because, for the money, you'll be getting a single cab, which, dare we remind you, the Ram 1500 doesn't offer. Once you enter the extended and crew cab territory, the line gets pretty much blurred out, and oftentimes, the F-150 comes out as the most expensive of the bunch. This has done wonders for the Ram 1500, as for the same amount of money as the F-150, you can now get a more prestigious vehicle, has a better interior, and as of the 2025 facelift is also better equipped. Therefore, although Ram didn't do much to improve the pricing of the Ram 1500 by lowering it, they did a great job by not inflating it further. Honestly, they have a lot to thank Ford for, as their misstep with the drastic price increase is already doing wonders for the Ram 1500 sales figures. Overall, the 2025 model year of the Ram 1500 is a drastic improvement over the previous model, and albeit it does not solve all of its issues, it darned well fixed most of them.